back to this when it comes to China. What about them relying on vectors of misinformation? Right? Yung mga, I don't know, mga forum dyan, yung mga influencer dyan, yung mga overnight on-clause international law expert, di ba? Yung mga resident analyst dun sa isang, I don't know, news channel, I don't know, banned na ulit ba yan on YouTube? I think people know what we were talking about here. Do you think that they overestimated the power of these vectors of influence or misinformation to turn the tide when it comes to public opinion, or were they looking at, I don't know, pogos, but all sorts of different ways to corrupt or capture our elite and all? Do you think that they had a hope about that? And what do you feel about the fact that the current administration, some of whom were working in the previous administration, suddenly now coming out guns blazing and saying, no, we have to fight against Chinese misinformation? As I said, wait lang, dati boss niya si Digong na mismo was behind misinformation and all this pro-China stuff. Then suddenly now you're for. How do you feel about that? Because, like I want to be nice, but sometimes when I scratch my head, Justice Carpio.
Well, on the small but vocal group of Filipinos who are supporting China on the West Philippine Sea, they're completely just parroting the line of China, and they're saying that the Cairo conference, the Potsdam Declaration, awarded the Spratlys to China. Of course, he did not award. In the San Francisco Peace Conference of 1951, Russia, USSR then, made a motion to award the Spratlys and the Paracels to China, and it was voted down overwhelmingly. So it was totally rejected, and they don't mention that. And what governs what the disposition of territories after World War II is really the San Francisco Peace Conference. So they're grasping at straws, and they're just echoing the Chinese propaganda. But we have debunked all of this Chinese propaganda a long time ago, and it looks like they're not even doing their own research, because they just parrot the Chinese line. And this Chinese propaganda has been debunked by so many scholars already. Well, I'm pleasantly surprised that the Marcos Jr. administration is now fighting disinformation, making it an important platform of his government. But I don't know how he will do it. But of course, to be fighting disinformation has always been our advocacy also. And I hope he will do something positive about it.
Justice, what about the passing of a Foreign Influence Act, like what the Australians and Taiwanese have, right? To really pin down itong vectors of misinformation. Because, I mean, of course, we have nothing against yung mga kababayan natin who genuinely have concerns, with the Philippines, I don't know, going to war with China or being over-reliant on the United States. Of course, that opinion may be very much based on the misinformation, but I want, rule out many Filipinos on ideological, emotional, or lack of information grounds, having certain opinions that differs from you and I and from the administration. Pero parang ibang usapan yung iba dyan na consistently, yung talking points nila, parang alam natin saan galing yan. Consistently, they have been besmirching the Filipinos. They have been besmirching AFP. They have besmirching you and I, especially you, Justice Carpio, over the past few years. Pag-usapan natin even more later on. So, do you think it's time for a Foreign Influence Act and some sort of, efforts to really fight sharp power operations by hostile authoritarian powers?
Well, there is a balancing act that we have to do here, Richard, because I am for freedom of expression. I have, but there are many things that we can do. Like, for example, Ateneo and UP, they opened Confucius Institutes here. And it's a one-way street because the Chinese could distribute materials in our campuses, but we could not do it in China. So if we enter into agreements with Chinese universities, on the Confucius Institute, we should make it reciprocal. We should open also Rizal Institutes in their campuses. We have Rizal Institutes. There's a law on that, and we have one in London that was opened because they can distribute materials here on their own narrative about the South China Sea, but we cannot distribute that in China. So if we require reciprocity, they will back out because there is no freedom of expression there. They will be able to distribute my book there. Your whatever you wrote can be distributed there, and they will never allow that. So they will stop. They will not open a Confucius Institute if it will be reciprocal. So that's the way to fight it. And we just have to expose these people. They just parrot the narrative of China. So we explain it. And if they say that the Cairo conference and the Potsdam Declaration awarded the Spratt List to China, we just show the records. So it is an opportunity for us to explain to our people. And I don't think they will win the argument because what they are peddling are false historical claims. These are really false claims. And we have the historical records to back us up. Now, there is a move in Congress to enact the Foreign Agents Act, Foreign Lobbying Act. That's okay, but this is limited to those who lobby in Congress, no?
Just for transparency, I mean, you just register. I'm working in behalf of government of XYZ, which is normal, right? I mean, there's nothing wrong. Just be transparent about it, no? So we're not here to pin you down as spy or anything like that. Just be transparent, no? So that you're more comfortable with that, Justice Carpio.
Yes, just register. If you are a lobbyist, just register. But we still accord them freedom of expression. But at least we know where they're coming from. They cannot appear as nationalists because they have registered that they are lobbying for a foreign country.
Yeah, yun nga. I mean, we just want to understand where these people coming from, no? Bakit consistently they're arguing the position of another country, not the Philippines, right? I mean, as scholars, I mean, you and I have written books on South China, etc. We'll argue this is the Malaysian position, this is the Philippine position, this is China position, and they will weigh. Walang ganun eh. This is sa kanila, like, this is Philippine position, Malaysia, China, and then purong China position, China position, China position. And then if you criticize them or question them, they'll say, bayaran ka ng Amerika, and then they'll tag you as being agent for United States. So, medyo magulo yan, di ba? So let's just be open about it, di ba? If you guys are really lobbying in behalf of Chinese embassy or whatever, then just register and and we'll take your arguments accordingly, right? Baka takot sila once they're transparent about what's their affiliation. Walang lalong maniniwala sa kanila. But my understanding, just Carpio, is that you're a little bit iffy about some of this conversation around pushing back against foreign influence operations because perhaps you're concerned that this could be a rabbit hole, that this could be a slippery slope towards some sort of another form of red tagging, in a sense. Because Justice Carpio, to be fair, I mean, they're good friends of mine, mentors of mine who are, on the other side, not because they're pro-China, but because they're still arguing that anti-American position that they've been arguing for the past 50 years and mukhang hindi naka-move on. But I cannot take that against them. That's their ideological personal position. Yeah. I don't think that makes them agents of China. So I just want to also distinguish this kind of progressive thinkers from those who are clearly agents of China. And unfortunately, having itong mga forum, bakery, mga ganyan, and then akot ng mga tao, alam niyo na.
Yeah. Well, as long as they identify themselves if they are receiving money from a foreign country, that should be the rule. But if they're not receiving money from a foreign country, then they will be expressing their opinion. It's part of their freedom of expression. If they're receiving financial aid from China, they should disclose it.
That
should be the case.
The money trail is important here, no? So, but but how do you establish kung may money? I mean, they could just say, no, walang money trail, but there should be some intelligence gathering, right? Inevitably.
Yes, it's difficult to prove, but they were able to establish that in the U.S. and in Canada, that these people, the pro-Chinese, they receive aid, and I think we can do that also here now. And as long as there is a law that says that if you're receiving financial aid from a foreign country, you should disclose it. To work for the interest of a foreign country, and that's it. It's up to our intelligence agency to get the evidence for that. But as long as there is that fear that there is such a law, they're aware of that, and that I think will be a deterrent. That's the most that we can do, because we don't want also to stifle freedom of expression. But Richard, I'm very comfortable with our position because I think we have the law and the facts on our side. It's a matter of explaining to the people. And the survey shows, since the 80s that 80 to 90% of our people support our position to defend the West Philippine Sea. So, and if you reach 90%, that's unanimous, practically unanimous. In fact, the Mangas was telling me if you reach 85%, that's unanimous already. So I think we have the support of the people. We just have to answer them. They've been attacking me, but I just replied, state the facts now, because we have the facts and the law on our side, and we are defending our own territory, our own maritime zones under international law. And if they don't want to defend Philippine territory and maritime zones, then the people will be the one to tell them that you are betraying the country.
So, Justice Carr, it looks like you still subscribe to the marketplace of idea, the kind of John Stuart Mill, and the idea that if they're gonna get false, we were gonna go the right way, and we can fight it back based on the force of our argument and the.
Yes, I still subscribe to that because the alternative would be bad. If we have another Duterte, we might be at the receiving end of the law.
It